All right, lesson 2.1.4. We've solved linear, we've solved inequalities. So now we're going to look at the other type of equation that we saw in Unit 1, which is exponential. Now we're going to keep this focused on some pretty simple ones. They can be pretty complex. We're not going to be solving any compound interest, in these notes. So we're going to basically be focused on this form right here, b to the x power equals c. And remember, you're used to seeing it as a times b to the x, right? But we're really not going to focus on that too much. We're not going to deal with really any coefficients out front. We're going to deal with some very simple, basic exponential equations. So one thing I do want you to know, and this is going to be super important, are these rules and laws, right? Multiplication of exponents. B to the m times b to the n equals b to the m plus n. Guys, you can't see this on this video because it's so small. It's going to be super important that you go back and look at those notes, okay? But what I want you to see is that when you're multiplying with the bases, same base, you add the exponents. When you do it to a power, they're multiplied. When you do division, it becomes subtraction. Anything to the zero power is 1. And b to a negative power is 1 over b to that same power, okay? So in other words, 4 to the negative 3 is the same thing as 1 over 4 to the third. That's going to be super important for what we're doing today. So make sure you remember that or pay attention to that one, okay? Some basic rules and laws and all that kind of good stuff. Has to be bigger than 0 here. Your base has to be bigger than 0. We're not going to be dealing with negative bases right now. So we're going to start with example 1 here. So the first thing I want to realize is it gives me 4 to the x equals 1024. And I'm like, whoa, what do I do with that? Well, think about what this means, right? What does this side mean? It means 4 times 4 times 4, right? X number of times, right? We don't know how many times that'll be, but what I'm hoping you'll understand is that at some point, if I do it a certain number of times, it should equal this. So, well, let's go through what some of them are. What's 4 to the first power? 4. What's 4 to the second power? 16, right? 4 times 4 is 16. 4 to the third is 16 times 4, which is 64. Then 4 to the fourth, if we were to do 64 times 4, we get 256. So we can use our calculator to help us do this, okay? If you want help with doing it with the calculator, make sure you show me the basic. You want to use that table key, and you would type in 4 to the y equals 4 to the x power, right? And then you would start at 1, step of 1, and your x's would be the power, and then y would be whatever that equals. So like on your table key, when you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you would have 4, 16, 64, that 256, and then 1024. What I'm hoping you're going to realize is that we can rewrite it like that. So 4 to the x equals 4 to the fifth, because this is 4 to the fifth power. And therefore, that means if the bases are the same and the exponents are this, those exponents have to be the same. So we can drop the bases and say that x equals 5. Key being that we have the same base. That's the most important part right there. Okay? All right, moving on to example 2. Oh, tricky. Now we have a fraction as a base, and we want it to equal 16. Okay, well, what I want you to remember is that we had that power that said if it's 1 over, this would be 2 to the first, right? Then we could rewrite that with the exponent as a negative. So this would be the same as writing 2 to the negative 1 to the x power equals 16. What did it say we could do if we had a power to a power? We go back to those rules and properties and laws that said we can multiply them. That means this becomes 2 to the negative x equals 16. Now, what can I do from there? Well, since I know my base is 2, I want to see if I can rewrite 16 as having a base of 2. Okay, well, let's see here. 16 with a base of 2. So that would be 2 to the first, which is 2, 2 squared, which is 4, 2 to the third, which is 8, 2 to the fourth, which is 16. So this is 2 to the fourth. So 2 to the negative x equals 2 to the fourth. Okay, so this has to equal this because the bases are the same. So negative x equals 4, and that means that x divided by -1 means that x has to be -4. Okay, we can plug that back in. You're going to have to use a calculator. But if you do 1/2 to the -4th power, you should get that it's 16, and you do if you plug that in. So you can plug it back in to check your solutions. I did forget to check the previous example, but you would do it the same way. You just plug that number that you got back in. Okay, that's it for example 1 and 2. I think I'm going to stop the video there, and I'll do a second video for the next examples.